And most recently, last week at the end of the week, GameStop had a 29% reduction in revenue. And, sorry to the apes out there, I'm not against you guys, right? Like I've never been short GameStop. I'm not against you. You guys want to get on the Roaring Kitty train, go for it and enjoy yourselves. Have fun at the casino. Um, but from a fundamental point of view, this is not like a 29% decrease in revenue is pretty huge. And I actually, because so many people were interested in it, I took a look. I looked at the history here, and this is a company that over the last, I have to bring up a model, but like 5 years or so, revenue's gone from like eight and change down to four and change, and is continuing to decline. So, I think from a fundamental point of view, the people who have been short the company, they've been right on the fundamentals, but the GameStop apes, they've been right in saying, yeah, but you're manipulating markets doing it, and they've been able to exploit that. So anyway, long way of saying, I don't have an opinion on this. Again, I'm not against the apes. But when you have retail companies, every week that are announcing sales declines, sales shortfalls, taking projections down, that's how you end up with a reduction in lead times and the easing of supply shortages. People are just starting to buy less stuff as their credit usage goes up. And that's something we've talked about a lot as well. Basically, we're going to end where we started, which is I think we have a bifurcated economy. I think Kobayashi letter is right. Um, and we have a small number of people doing really well that are pulling up the averages, and a lot of people who are struggling right now.
Great stuff, Gary. If I had to push you, what is give me a take or some sort of position on GameStop, Roaring Kitty, what's going on, maybe even just for some of the listeners.
Well, I pulled one of the videos he did. I think it was in 2020. And so, there are a lot of people who are saying Roaring Kitty is, he's just a stock promoter. But that's actually not true. If you go back 4 or 5 years, he was putting up videos talking about the fundamentals at GameStop. And he had a vision for how the company was going to handle the shift to online distribution, which now is really, is really the thing. Um, and how they were going to make their stores kind of this community hub for people who were gamers, whether you like playing video games or I think part of his vision was people would come and play board games like like Dungeons and Dragons. um and it was interesting analysis, talking about how the business was going to be transformed. The unfortunate thing is that analysis wasn't correct. That transition didn't happen. Sales declined by a lot. They've continued to decline. They've been declining pretty steadily for years. And so GameStop, from a fundamental point of view, doesn't have um, the fundamental case isn't there. And Roaring Kitty wasn't right on that. I think the area where they have been right is that there has been some market manipulation in the way people have shorted the stock, and they were able to engineer a short squeeze against that. And correctly pointing out that there were people manipulating markets, and they had a counter strategy to that. So, from a trading point of view, they've been really effective. From a fundamental point of view, I think they've been incorrect. The other thing that I think is really interesting is there's all this talk that Roaring Kitty is going to be investigated for market manipulation. And, my response to that is for what? Right? I mean, the guy established a huge position. He put a meme up on X of him leaning forward in a chair. He's put out a whole bunch of memes. He's shown people what he owns. He's shown his brokerage account. He's got an E-Trade account. And I think earlier this week he had something like a quarter of a billion or $500 million of value there. And, there was talk that if the stock got to like 67 or 69, he was going to be worth $1 billion. None of that is illegal, right? Like, listen, does the guy move markets? 100%. He absolutely does. But it's not illegal to post memes. It's not illegal to post a drawing of you leaning forward in your chair. It's not illegal to show people that you own a stock. It's not illegal to have a YouTube live stream where you talk to people about your outlook. He's been careful to avoid issuing any kind of price projections or saying to people, everyone hold, we're going to get to 400. He hasn't said stuff like that. So um, I think he's taking a lot of heat from people who are upset, and I understand why people are upset. But from what I can tell, and I am not a securities attorney, I don't see any area where he's actually broken the law. I don't think he's as guilty of market manipulation as everybody who does what I do for a living. Like, we have idea dinners. Hedge fund managers, we get together, we have idea dinners. Or, we'll post, Joel Greenblatt has the Value Investors Club, there's Harvest, Seeking Alpha, Some Zero, that is members only or paid only access to ideas. I post ideas on there. I read other people's ideas on there. How is this any different? Right? If I get to come on to YouTube or X and write and tell people I own Auth ID, here's why I own it, why is it wrong for him to tell people that he owns it? And I do it through more traditional channels, right? So I posted it on Some Zero, right? Where other hedge fund managers can see that. So he posted it on X, reposted it on a Reddit message board. He's a better marketer than most of us are. Congratulations for that. But I can't see anywhere
Right.
where he's done anything illegal or inappropriate. Morgan Stanley's talking about suspending his E-Trade account. They have the right to do it, but my response to that is, for what? Right? What did the guy do? He's driven huge amounts of trading volume. And I understand, Morgan Stanley probably does a lot of business with Citadel, and Citadel, they've had their issues. They've lost billions of dollars being short, or where they had a fund where they had huge investments that lost billions of dollars.
Mhm.
Um, being short this, but I don't really know what he's done that would cause him to lose access to his trading account, to his brokerage account. Obviously the SEC, they'll investigate what they want, but for what? I just can't find anywhere where he's done anything wrong or illegal or inappropriate. Again, I understand why people don't like what he's doing, but if I can talk about Auth ID and the people at, Hindenburg or Citron can come out and talk about the stocks they're short, I know Ben Axler and Lax Ganapathy, they're great short sellers. They come out with their ideas in public. Why can't Roaring Kitty tell people that he owns GameStop, and then, you make your own decision? But if you are going to buy it, I would take a look at the revenue trend there and make sure you're good on a fundamental basis, because that's the area where I think Roaring Kitty and the Apes have been wrong. I think the fundamentals there have not really gotten better. Granted, they've gone from severely negative free cash flow to sort of flat free cash flow, but flat free cash flow with however many stores they have and leases and fixed expenses and declining revenue ends up in negative free cash flow again at some point. So the company really needs to turn around that revenue trend, unless somebody's got an idea for how they're going to do it. I'm watching this one from the sidelines. There's no way in the world I'd be dumb enough to short this thing against Roaring Kitty and the army of Reddit apes who will follow him. I'm not taking that risk on. But I also don't want to own something where the fundamentals for years and years have been this negative. So I disclosed my position in Auth ID. In GameStop, I'm just enjoying it as a spectator, and whether you're playing this on the long side or the short side, what's the expression, Rob? Power to the player. Good luck to
Yeah.
you. Let me know if you're making money or
We'll be,
losing money in
we'll
this.
be
I'm
watching.
curious to see. Yeah. Yeah. Let us know how you're doing in it. I'm going to be watching.
Very good. Interesting stuff. Thanks for breaking that down, Gary. And that concludes again this episode of the 5 Things with Deep Knowledge Investing. As always, please be sure to check out Deep Knowledge's work as well as Gary's work at deepknowledgeinvesting.com. We have an option for a free subscription, but would also love consideration for a paid premium subscription. Gives you access to all current recommendations, priority delivery of information, exclusive membership with webinar invites, etc. Gary, any final closing thoughts from you?
Yeah, thanks, Rob. So everyone, the channel's grown quite a bit lately. We've had a lot of growth, at least on a percentage basis. I really appreciate it. A lot of that is due to Rob. Rob, thanks so much for hosting, and he was the one who came up with the idea for the 5 things. A lot of credit too to our young intern Andrew, who's done a phenomenal job on a lot of these videos, and he's gotten us a lot more exposure, and he's done a great job. But for everyone who's decided to subscribe and watch, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We know your time is valuable, and thanks so much for spending it with us. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week. As of now, I have no idea what's going to happen for the rest of the week. So there's no preview. We'll have what we have.
Exciting week, hopefully. Thanks so much, Gary.